The Great War was the first modern conflict to see widespread use of the Flammenwerfer, also known as the Flamethrower. Developed as a modern weapon in 1901 by a German inventor, it was used on a 20th century battlefield for the first time on February 26, 1915, against the French outside Verdun. The concept of the flamethrower was not a new one in the early 20th century. In fact, it had been used by the Greeks in naval warfare almost 2,000 years before, in the 1st century AD. The Byzantines would create the infamous incendiary weapon known as Greek fire in 672, a weapon that was used extensively and to devastating effect in naval combat. On modern battlefields, the Flammenwerfer was not used in a concerted attack by German stormtroopers until the Battle of Bellewaerde Ridge in July of 1915. The Klein Flammenwerfer was a man-portable flamethrower consisting of a two-tank system, one holding flammable oil and the other a pressurized inert gas that sprayed the mixture out of the nozzle of a long wand. It was generally operated by two soldiers, one carrying the fuel and propellant tanks, another wielding the business end. Come 1917, the Germans were in need of a lighter weight, more adaptable flamethrower, capable of being handled by a single crew member. Enter the Wechselapparat Flammenwerfer. Colloquially referred to as the Wex, this flamethrower could be operated by a single man, and had a distinctive donut-shaped backpack fuel container with a spherical propellant container in the middle. It was used to absolutely brutal effect in the trench warfare that characterized the Great War. And I believe this weapon is the one that should be depicted in Battlefield 1. But this is where things get a little bit weird. I don't know if it's shoddy reporting or historical confusion or what, but a lot of the websites currently listing the weapons in Battlefield 1 have been saying that the flamethrower depicted is the Lifebuoy M1, which is a British-made weapon that's an almost exact copy of the German-made Wechselapparat. To the best of my knowledge, that's a pretty significant anachronism though, and that the Lifebuoy M1 was only used as a training weapon and wasn't produced until 1943, and the Mark II, the improved version, didn't see action until Operation Overlord, the Allied invasion of Normandy in 1944. So if the flamethrower in Battlefield 1 is indeed the Lifebuoy M1, I would love some clarification on that, because it doesn't make sense to me. It's a World War II weapon in a World War I game. Now we do know that Battlefield 1 is taking some creative liberties and blurring the lines between the Great War and World War II. Some of the technology and weaponry you will see in this game is certainly a bit out of place, but to just take a World War II weapon and plop it into a World War I game does seem a little bit weird, which is why I find it much more likely the weapon we see in Battlefield 1 is indeed the Wechselapparat. Now we know that the Sinai Desert conflict in the Battlefield 1 beta is fought between the British and the Ottoman empires, so DICE certainly could have decided to add the British-made Lifebuoy M1 because of its similarities to the 1917 German model, but I'm not really sure how that in-house discussion went for the developers, so it's something that I'd really love clarification on. Regardless of which weapon DICE is attempting to depict in Battlefield 1, its effectiveness in warfare, especially during World War I and World War II, can't really be denied. Incendiary weapons, aside from the brutality they can inflict on a human body, are also noted for their devastating psychological effects, a weapon that can instill terror in even the most battle-hardened veterans. While the weapons themselves were incredibly effective at clearing trenches and bunkers, infantry carrying flamethrowers were incredibly susceptible to enemy fire. Single-man Flammenwerfers like the German Wex model, or the M2, an American weapon used in the Second World War, were cumbersome and could easily weigh 50 pounds, severely limiting a soldier's mobility. And a flame-shooting stormtrooper with limited range was often a very obvious target for enemy marksmen. One Marine Corps flamethrower unit on Iwo Jima had a 92% casualty rate, leading a military statistician to estimate the average lifespan for a flamethrower operator in battle at 4 minutes. Although not strictly outlawed in the Geneva Conventions, Protocol 3 of the Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons in 1980 prohibited the use of incendiary weapons primarily designed to cause burn, injury, or death through the action of flame, heat, or any combination thereof. In reality, there aren't many ways to enforce these prohibitions, and flamethrowers have been mostly phased out of modern militaries by thermobaric weaponry. Hope you guys enjoyed this history of the flamethrower, and let me know if there are any other weapons from Battlefield 1 you want me to cover.